you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite
Welcome
low.
back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and we're going to go over the most recent Adam foreclosure information. And also, guys, towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to buy foreclosed property and what to look out for as far as the risk of buying foreclosures. We're also going to go into a cautionary tale, a video I got from Market Mania on a person that purchased a property for $200,000 over asking price. They lost their jobs and lost the property 7 months later. So they went 200,000 over, lost their job, they're dead in the water. If just one person, guys, loses their job and they miss just one payment, it could spell financial ruin, because most people are living paycheck to paycheck. And if you guys find value in this video, please hit like, subscribe, hit notifications. It really helps out the channel. Either way, let's jump in first to a video of a cautionary tale, and let's listen to what happened to this lady. And hopefully you guys will take it as a cautionary tale on slowing your roll when you're out there purchasing real estate. It's an incredibly toxic market right now, and you need to use fundamentals, in my opinion, and have the proper expectations if you're going to purchase real estate in one of the worst times in history. Take a listen to this video.
I just feel like I'm tracking through the mud and swimming against the current, and it just feels like a never-ending nightmare.
It all started 2 years ago when she purchased this home in Jasper, Ontario, along the Rideau River.
The housing market was quite ludicrous. There were bidding wars, and
listed at $465,000, Vanessa says she ended up paying $200,000 over asking. But just 7 months later, she was laid off from her well-paying job at Microsoft. And at the same time, soaring interest rates nearly doubled her mortgage payments.
And I said, okay, well, I can't afford this. I started to default on my payments.
She says she tried to sell her house to no avail, handing over the keys to Scotiabank in November.
I moved out of the property, and, to my knowledge, the bank was changing the locks.
A few months later, she was served with foreclosure papers. Unable to afford a lawyer, she's now awaiting a default judgment as she faces bankruptcy.
You literally go from owning a property and having a job with a great income to being faced with homelessness all in less than a year.
Y'all, all in less than a year. Doesn't that story sound familiar? That's similar to what happened to me. I mean, if I would have just rearranged how I was spending, how I was living my life 6 months before I lost everything, my life would probably be completely different. But I had a foreclosure. When the bank finally sold the house, they issued me a deficiency notice, which resulted into an IRS tax lien that followed me around for over 9 years. The statute of limitations was extended because I had to also file bankruptcy. You guys, I lost everything. So I understand what she's going through. She said it's like swimming up current. The rest of her life, she's going to feel like it's going uphill. That's what happens when you lose everything and you destroy your credit. The amount of depression and struggle and tenacity that you need to get your life back in order is overwhelming. It can be done. I did it. If I could do it, anyone could do it. My point is, look what happened to her. In just 7 months, her entire life got turned upside down, all because she purchased something that she shouldn't have. Think about it, you guys. She lost her job. If she would have still had the down payment, if she would have still had that $200,000, she would be way better off than losing everything. But because she was obsessed with purchasing a home, because that was her dream, that was in her mind, she just wanted to win, she lost everything, because it's not a winning game right now. It's a losing game. But regardless, let's go into the updated report from Adam. And this is different than Black Knight. They cover different metro areas, so it is a different report. Take a look. All right, the name of this ATTOM report is U.S. Foreclosure Activity sees notable increase in January 2024. Adam today released its January 2024 U.S. Foreclosure Market Report, which shows there was a total of 33,270 U.S. properties with foreclosure filings, default notices, scheduled auctions, or bank repossessions. So 33,000 more families are now without a home. That's messed up. up 5% from a year ago and up 10% from the prior month. So when we take out seasonality, it's up 5%. That's probably going to spiral out of control, being that more moratorium has now expired, minus VA moratoriums, foreclosure moratoriums. We observed a slight uptick in foreclosure filings, which may have been partially attributed to the typical post-holiday progression of filings through the legal system. But again, when you look at year over year, it is up. However, other external factors may be at play, such as escalating interest rates, inflation, employment shifts, and other market dynamics. Or other words, guys, the QT, the quantitative tightening, and we still see lag effects working its way through the system. Obviously, we see that it's still so much money in the system. It's not a complete, meltdown. Foreclosure completion numbers increased monthly in 19 states. Lenders repossessed almost 4,000 U.S. properties through completed foreclosures in January. That is up 1% from a year ago. And those are properties that you and I can purchase. I don't necessarily want to buy a foreclosed property. I'll go into that in a minute here. But those are 4,000 additional houses. The first month-over-month increase in completed foreclosures since July of 2023. So the biggest increase in about 6 to 7 months, which makes sense because, again, the moratoriums for the lockdowns are ended. States that have at least 50 or more REOs and that saw the greatest monthly increase in January include, now this is a surprising thing for me, Michigan, which is up 200%. That's crazy. Minnesota, up 47%. And here's the surprising thing, because usually California is like the bottom 5 states of delinquency, but California is up 43%. You guys, that is the third highest surge in REOs. That's crazy to me because, again, when we look at Black Knight is like the opposite. Now, Pennsylvania is sitting at number 4 at a 36% increase, and this is statewide. Missouri is sitting at 34% increase. Now, and this is why I like this report, unlike Black Knight, they cover, Adam covers 224 metro area statistics. Now, in the metros that they are tracking with a population of at least 200,000 that saw the greatest number, so this is the unit number of REOs, include Michigan at 609. So that would coincide with Michigan being the number 1 surging and the number 1 REOs. Now, Chicago's number 2, which is interesting, at 194, followed by New York at 163, Philadelphia at 107, and San Francisco, which is one of the leading metro areas of price decline. They also have net migration, and they also have the 5th highest number of REOs at 107 real estate owned properties. That's very interesting to me because, again, Black Knight doesn't break it down like that. The highest foreclosure rates are in Delaware, Nevada, and Indiana. That's crazy. What about Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama? That's crazy that they're saying it's not them, it's Delaware, Nevada, and Indiana. Let's see what they have to say. Nationwide, 1 in every 4,236 housing units had a foreclosure filing in January. States with the highest foreclosure rates were Delaware, which is 1 in 2,200, Nevada, which is 1 in 2,200 also, and Indiana, which is 1 in 2,500, followed by Maryland, 1 in 2,600, and New Jersey at 1 in 2,600. This is completely different than Black Knight. Again, Black Knight would have Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, top 3 almost every single time. So it's crazy to me that that's not in Adam's report. Those major metropolitan statistic areas with a population greater than 200,000 with the highest foreclosure rate in January 2023 were Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is 1 out of every 1,500 homes. Number 2 is Columbia, South Carolina. 3 is Cleveland, Ohio. Surprised about Cleveland, you guys. And then Detroit. And then number 5, this one makes sense, which is Las Vegas. Las Vegas is sitting at 1 out of every 1,923 homes. Now, we are seeing foreclosures increase, you guys. Foreclosure starts increased monthly and annually. I'm not saying it's at GFC levels. It is not at GFC levels, but it can spiral out of control if unemployment becomes unhinged. If unemployment becomes unhinged, foreclosures will skyrocket. I'm going to tell you right now, if unemployment is unhinged, foreclosures will skyrocket. You can bank on that. Lenders started the foreclosure process on 21,000 U.S. properties in January. Again, that is up 6% from last month and 5% from a year ago. Those states that saw the greatest number of foreclosure starts in January included, this is crazy. So California is the number one state of foreclosure starts. That's crazy to me because, again, Black Knight saying something different. Texas is number 2. Wow. At 2,600 foreclosure starts. Florida, number 3. That makes sense. 2,300 foreclosure starts. New York sitting at 1,341 foreclosure starts. Number 5 is Illinois at 913 foreclosure starts. That is surprising to me. Among those major metropolitan statistical areas with a population of at least 20,000, those with the greatest number of foreclosure starts in January is New York, New York. Houston, what? My city is number 2 in foreclosure starts, sitting at 1,000 foreclosure starts in Houston. That's surprising, because Houston's relatively affordable still compared to other metros, I'm saying, in Texas. Los Angeles is the next at 817, followed by Miami at 804 and Chicago at 763. Wow. Shame on me for not giving you guys the Adam foreclosure stats as well. I've been mainly focusing on Black Knight. I'm going to stop doing that because this actually appears to be more comprehensive. They're covering more states and more areas than Black Knight. So I really like this. Now, let's talk about how to buy a foreclosure and what to look out for. Now, this article will be linked in my description as well. It's a pretty good article. It's how to buy a foreclosed home. Okay, it will be linked in my description. You can read the whole thing. If you want to go to my description, hit the link and check it out. Some key takeaways here, guys. Foreclosed homes can seem like a great opportunity to save money on a home purchase. But be sure to investigate so you understand the risk. If you go in blindly and naive when purchasing a foreclosed property, it will eat you alive, or there's a high probability it will. There are a few different ways to purchase foreclosed homes, including a short sale, at auction, buying from the bank, or buying from the government. Buying a foreclosed homes is risky since you're purchasing the home as is. They're not going to negotiate on repairs, if you know what I mean. And that can entail additional cost down the line. And remember, some of these people are getting kicked out of their house. Some of them may trash the house. This may be obvious to some people, but I'll read it anyways. What is a foreclosed home? A foreclosed home is a property that has been repossessed and is being sold by the mortgage lender or servicer. A home goes into foreclosure, which is a legal process, after the homeowner misses multiple payments, usually 3 months, so usually 90 days, and they start the process. Once the homeowner is notified that the mortgage is in default and is not able to reinstate the loan by catching up on payments, the ownership shifts back to the lender, which will then try to sell the property. That is a long process for the lender, by the way. Now let's go into a few things here, guys. What are the different ways to buy a foreclosed home? So starting with buying a foreclosed home directly from a homeowner as a short sale or pre-foreclosure. And I got to tell you guys, I've been part of 4 transactions, maybe 5 transactions, which were short sales, and all of them sucked. All of them suck. Buying a short sale property, you need patience and 4 to 6 months of patience, because that's how long that process takes. I've found hidden fees. It's a huge hassle because the listing agent has to work with someone at the lender to negotiate a price of the house that's under the mortgage. So they owe more on the mortgage than what the house is being sold for. Now, short sales can be great purchases as the owner is still the seller and the lender hasn't foreclosed yet. But again, the lender is part of the transaction because they have to approve it. A short sale means that the lender agrees to accept less than what is owed on the property, which can mean big savings for buyers. The process could take up to 120 days or more, however. Another way is buying at an auction. With this option, you buy the home as is, which can be risky. You may also end up purchasing a property that has other liens that have not been paid or has additional expenses. If going this route, plan on having some cash on hand to make an immediate down payment. Now, one thing I'll say is if you guys can, get a title report. So if you're going to go to an auction, have a title company run that property's title commitment and make sure there's no liens on the property, like a mechanic's lien for a pool, maybe a second mortgage, maybe HOA lien, tax liens. You got to make sure there's no liens on the property. The way you normally do that is you order a title commitment or a title report, and they will notify you of what the existing liens are. Buying from the bank. When a property cannot sell at auction, interested buyers will work directly with the bank. If you're buying a bank-owned foreclosure, applying for a loan with the same bank may simplify matters, assuming you can get a competitive interest rate. Fair warnings, some banks will not want to finance foreclosures or will require large down payments because they can be risky investments. But I'll tell you guys right now, if they're purchasing it as a primary residence, there's really no hit to your pricing or to your loan if it's a foreclosure. Really, the lenders want to make sure that the property is still in livable condition. So basically flooring and no holes in the ceiling per se. Buying from the government. This is usually the safest way to buy a foreclosure since most government agencies offer incentives and protections for buyers. Government-backed loan programs from the VA and FHA may offer financial options, but the property will need to meet standards for approval. Then you have programs like Fannie Mae's HomePath, which help homebuyers purchase properties the government-sponsored mortgage buyers have foreclosed on. The program even provides up to 3% in closing cost assistance for first-time homebuyers who complete a home owner education course. And you guys, couple pros and cons of buying a foreclosure, starting with the pros. You could find a property at a deep discount, but I'm going to tell you guys, in this market, it's not that easy. In this market, you're usually finding foreclosed houses that are slightly under market value, but by the time you compare what else is listed to the condition of the foreclosed property, usually it's not a smart move because you're just inheriting risks on the property. So usually you're not going to get a discount in this market. Now, number two, you'll have some bargaining power, but not if it's at auction, right? You're not if it's a short sale. You will not have bargaining power. The homeowners are facing a financial crisis and often in a position to negotiate with you. But remember, you guys, a short sale is negotiated by the lender, not the homeowner. The homeowner is upside down. That's why it's a short sell. Now, the third thing is the home value should increase substantially. And again, this market is nutso. It depends on the area. So it's not increasing substantially. All right, now let's look at the cons. Supply is scarce. Both real estate investors and first-time homebuyers are out looking for distressed properties, so expect competition. And that's the other thing. Everyone wants a foreclosure, so it's just risky. Buying as is could be risky. The big scary thing is that with a number of foreclosures, you can't actually inspect the property before you actually bid. That's crazy, you guys. And then the third thing is extra costs often come with the territory, especially if a home was neglected for a period of time. It may require substantial repair in order to make it livable. Other times the home might have liens attached to it, and that's why you need that title commitment. Now, one place you guys can go is to Zillow if you want to see foreclosures. There's way better sites than foreclosures. But if you guys just wanted to see in your own metro area, you just type the metro area up here. What I did is put Las Vegas, and then you go to more right here, and then you just you unselect coming soon. And what you do is you go to show more right here, and you uncheck this, and you only put foreclosures, auctions, foreclosed, and pre-foreclosures. You hit apply, and now it tells me in Las Vegas, there are 48 options of homes that are either in foreclosure or auction. You see that here's the first one. This is $279,000 foreclosure, almost 1,500 square feet in Nevada. It's been on the market for 89 days. Interesting. Here's another foreclosure at 304. So there are options, but generally, if you want the real list of foreclosures, you guys got to pay some subscription in the local metro area. So if you want to buy foreclosures in Houston, put Houston foreclosures. There's probably 3 to 4 times more foreclosures in Houston than what Zillow is actually reporting. So there's usually a lot more. Now, in conclusion, guys, if you want to buy a foreclosure, be careful. But the most important thing here is don't use your emotions to buy a house. If you guys get laid off, if you miss just one paycheck, can you still afford your expenses? I want you to ask yourself that. If the answer is no, what are you doing? Right? If you're going to buy a house, what I like to do is 6 months of savings. If you have 6 months of savings for all of your expenses and you have a whole bunch of other things, by all means, go find the house of your dreams, but be responsible about it. This housing market, guys, is incredibly toxic. The more fundamentals that we use and the less emotions that we use, the better prepared we will be for what comes next in the housing market and the economy. And other than that, I really hope you guys got some new value, insights, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck. And I hope you win.